True off my chest, number 1. Wish I was smart and intelligent. Throughout my whole life, I always had to be thrown in special ed classes due to my autism, which sadly came with cognitive impairments. And clearly I'm barely intelligent at all. I've always dreamt of maybe getting good at computer science, but I don't think it'll happen because of my low intelligence. I always feel so much envy towards autistic people who are actually smart in school academically, but it's other way around for me. I also come to conclude the fact I'm completely talentless and not good at anything. I really hate how people expect everyone to have at least some sort of talent, like being good at music, art, etc. But I'm literally not good at any of those. What also really annoys me is hearing those gifted IQ humbly bragging about how they were very bright student, like getting good GPA and all of that good shit. Like, bro, how you depressed when you got good shit, and knowing that you have much greater ego than a lot of people. When I was never inherently a bright student, I grew up being dumb. I really wish I was at least maybe an honors student in school and having some good grades because I'm handicapped by my intellect. True off my chest, number 2. The fact that I'm just a couple of paychecks away from being homeless is wild when I really think about it. I'm 57F and live alone with 3 cats. I'm fortunate that I have a job and my own place that I rent. I struggle and do without things so I can make my rent. When I think about the fact that if my shit goes south, I'm done, it's so unbelievable. I work hard. If I had a medical issue and missed work, I would most likely be homeless. If I lost my job, probably the same. The fact that this is my life blows my mind. I feel so much compassion for the people who are struggling more than I am. How are they ever supposed to improve their situations when things are this way? When it's a constant struggle to maintain what little you have, it takes a toll on the soul. It's soul tax. I just clocked out for my week of paid vacation. I'm going nowhere, doing nothing, and currently deciding if I should pay my electric bill or buy food. This is just my life from my point of view today. True off my chest, number 3. Just lost my best friend. Just want to get this off my chest. I had a friend I'd known since 2019 from school, when we ended up in the same class for our final years. We spent a lot of time together and eventually got into a relationship. There were some disagreements, where I often voiced my dissatisfaction about small things. Simple changes that would have had a big positive impact for me. We broke up at the beginning of 2022, and for the first 6 months we had no contact. Eventually we reconnected, got along really well, and even grew close again. By summer 2023, he became jealous because I got closer to another friend, and there was potential for something more there. Nothing ended up happening with that other person, but my ex started love-bombing me and giving me a lot of attention. We emphasized mutual communication and honesty, agreeing that if either of us found someone else, we'd be upfront about it. Even though we were casual, it felt like a relationship without the label. There were still things he hadn't changed from before, things I'd expressed were important to me. He always said he was working on them, spoiler, he never did. In late September, I found a puppy to adopt from an accidental litter. He and his family, who treated me like a daughter, were supportive and even visited the puppy. Initially, I got the last available puppy, but others backed out, and they ended up deciding to adopt one too. We were excited to raise the brothers together. Shortly after the puppies were picked up in late October, he became distant. By late November, it led to an argument because I felt all the effort in our communication was coming from me. I had to pull information out of him just to stay updated about anything. The conversation ended unresolved, so I messaged him hoping to continue it. At that point, due to the distance and his behavior, I asked him to return my spare apartment key, as his actions had drained me emotionally and hurt me deeply. He never responded, even during my birthday. That silence hurt me deeply. His mother, however, came by on my birthday, brought me a gift, and we briefly talked about his behavior. She promised to handle the key, and later, between Christmas and New Year's, she returned it to me. Still, I hadn't heard anything from him. I messaged him again, as I was struggling emotionally. We had been so close, and his sudden silence and ignoring me were devastating. Yesterday, he finally replied, but he refused to explain himself, saying he wanted to cut contact without any discussion. That's what happened. I still told him how I felt, how his behavior affected me, and how hurtful I found his actions. He didn't like that, saying it was starting a discussion, though I only wanted us to part ways respectfully and properly, with everything cleared up. He didn't want that and left me in pain, claiming it wasn't my fault, but that this was better. He ended things over text, refusing to meet or have a proper conversation. This is the second time he's done this to me. The first time wasn't much different. I feel so sad, hurt, and lonely. If I'm not distracted, I keep thinking about it. He was my only real connection nearby, the person I spent the most time with, and I always saw him as my best friend. It is what it is. I just want this pain and loneliness to pass quickly. Sorry if my text is messy. I wrote it straight from my head and don't have the energy to polish it. True off my chest, number 4. Hey Reddit, buckle up, this is a wild ride. Let me introduce Kate 21, the most chaotic, deceitful, dirty, and downright irresponsible roommate you'll ever hear about. Mind you, we have known Kate since she was only 15, but just recently rekindled in 2020-2021. The setup Kate and the Twat House May-July. Kate, 21, moves into a 3-bedroom home in Saskatoon. She dubs the Twat House and recruits roommates through a roommate finder app. On her profile, she claims to be a University of Regina UFAR student or graduate with a degree in social work. G, 22, from Alberta, moving to Saskatoon for her practicum. Kate hypes G up, calling her an ABG Asian baby girl from a rich family. G sends $2,200 to secure her spot and cover the damage deposit. T, 22. Kate befriends T in the spring, and the two become inseparable. However, Kate frequently complains about T's messiness, inconsiderate behavior, and obsession with boys, saying things like, "I'll just cut her off. She doesn't align with my lifestyle and values." Red flags start to wave. Kate brings in a third roommate, J, 22, along with J's dog. Kate assures J that having the dog in the house won't be an issue, claiming it's been cleared with the landlord. J pays $600 for her share. Spoiler alert, Kate hadn't cleared anything. The landlord discovers the dog. Kate, unsurprisingly, ghosts the situation, forcing J to send her dog back to her mom's house. Meanwhile, Kate steals her roommate belongings, eats their groceries, blocks G and J from contacting the landlord directly, promises to fix issues pay for her share of things bills, but never follows through. Oh, and Kate pockets G's $200 and J's $600 instead of passing it to the landlord. The Vancouver disaster, October. Present. Kate, C22T and I22, plan a trip to Vancouver. Kate promises to book the Airbnb since I had paid for all the plane tickets and concert tickets. Months pass and Kate does nothing. I step in, book a reasonably priced Airbnb, and Kate insists I cancel so she can handle it. The next day, she books a pricier Airbnb, claiming she's afraid of bedbugs. Then she backs out of covering for C and shames her for being broke despite promising to help. On the trip, Kate refuses to contribute to groceries, avoids paying for activities, relies on us for basics like rain gear and medicine, fantasizes about being a Vancouver influencer, but spends most of the trip lounging and being dirty while we cook and clean. This money she lives lavishly off of is our money she pocketed. The intervention mid-trip, I get a FaceTime call from G, J, and others. They've just confronted the landlord, who reveals Kate lied about who was living in the house. J isn't even on the lease. The landlord never received G's $200 or J's $600. When confronted back in Saskatoon, Kate crocodile cries, promising to take full accountability and pay back what she owes. Spoiler alert, she doesn't. She manages to convince her work manager to help her dispute the charges and the debt, while she couch surfs since she cannot face us. The fallout. Shortly after, the landlord demands $800 in back rent, which falls on G and J because Kate ghosted. She moves out without warning, leaving them to clean up her mess. We also discover Kate 1. Lied about her social work degree. 2. Isn't even a UFR student. 3. Pocketed the money G and J gave her. 4. Lied about her name. She gets stopped for like 30 minutes at flight check-in and is told for next time to use her real name on the flights. Update: living her best life in Victoria. Kate is now working as a live-in nanny for a wealthy family in Victoria, BC, acting like none of this ever happened. Meanwhile, G and J are still dealing with the fallout of her lies. We learn that she has been telling everyone that she had to sell the house, lied about mortgaging the house, and she decided to fulfill her dreams in Victoria. Sad to think this was all to fulfill her social media influencer dreams. Contacted family, they seem concerned. After we helped them locate her while she couch surfed. Family then blocks us on all social media once they find her. And sister even goes to visit Kate in Victoria. They are seen vlogging their experience for the holidays. What's next? Should we take her to small claims court? Write a public exposé to warn others? We're considering our options, but justice feels long overdue, and desperately need a Netflix documentary about this whole situation, because this is just 65% of it. TLDR: roommate Kate 21 lied about her identity, stole thousands from her roommates, ruined a trip, and ghosted everyone, leaving them to clean up her mess. She's now living it up in Victoria, pretending none of it happened, while we have to continue where we left off. True off my chest. Number 5. My boyfriend gave me an O for the first time ever. I previously made a post that I've never had any partner make me get to where I want to, and have realized that it was actually because I was too busy worrying how sexy I looked during sex, rather than getting me to the end. I stopped posing in ways that I'd assume made me look hotter, and just focused on poses that had reached places I'd want my boyfriend to reach, and lo and behold, literally took 8 minutes. I've never had that happen before. I also stopped worrying about peeing all over the place and just let it happen. Nothing even came out. So I'm wondering why the feeling happens. Haha. Not sure about a lot of women, but I realized that when doing it solo, I don't worry about anything but just me. So I figured I should just do that during sex, and I even came without needing external play. It was crazy and great, and it honestly made me feel really loved by my boyfriend, because even he agreed that it was better than usual. Something that also helped and might have actually kickstarted my whole realization was a post that a girl made that said something along the lines of, "Ladies, don't worry about men being attracted to you. Men fuck armpits if they want to." Can't exactly tell anyone this, so here you go. Reddit. Happy New Year, LOL. True off my chest, number 6. Guilt from career change and grief, female 32. I lost my dad and the last family member I'm close with. I don't have any family I could turn to for a hug or anything, and it's made me feel so lost. I was forced back into work after 2 weeks and I wasn't ready. I was working in childcare, caring for crying 2-year-olds who wanted their parents. It was horrific. My manager put up Christmas decorations up 2 months early and had us listening to Christmas songs about family and love and happy times. I no longer had every day for the whole time. It was torture. I lasted about 6 months till I was crying every day in work, stressed out of my mind as deputy manager, often being left with the responsibility of the nursery and the staff. I hated it. I went for a meeting with the directors of the nursery, and you know what they said. Things could be worse. You pour your heart and soul into caring for other people's children and get nothing in return. I was so passionate about early years care that I went on to do a degree despite it not being necessary at all. I would buy things for the nursery for the children to use from my own minimum wage job. Finally, I took some time and was signed off by the doctor for 2 months. When I came back to work, my horrible manager had packed all the stuff I got for the kids into bags for me to take and left it in the kitchen. She took my key kids and gave them to other people. She blamed me for everything, and then said in a sickly sweet voice, "How can we support you?" So I left childcare after working for 12 years in the industry. I feel guilty for leaving, especially with my dad paying for my degree I no longer use. I feel lost. I feel smothered by my boyfriend who obsessively tells me he loves me. It's too much. I'm so sad. I can't be sad around him. There's pressure to not show it. He doesn't understand. He still has his parents and grandparents. All of mine have passed on. True off my chest, number 7. I've just realized I'm in an abusive relationship and I'm literally dying. So my wife, female age 20, and I, male age 39, have been together for 2 years, married for 1. I make by far the most money out of the 2 of us, which is fine because I love her and she's at uni, but she literally does hardly any of the housework compared to me. I have taken out the bins the last 3 times in a row, and I tried to speak to her about it, admittedly. I was a bit frustrated and had let it build up till I exploded at her. Her response was to use tears to try and manipulate me and list all the housework things that she has been doing, like mowing the lawn, which literally only needs to be done once a month because it's cold, and doing the dishes. Which is fair, she does do them, but it's not exactly relevant to the conversation, which was about the bins. As I write this, my hands are shaking with rage at the injustice of it. A lot of people claim that men are abusers, but this is my first experience being abused by a woman. She is using her tears to manipulate me, and I know if I tell anyone in real life, I'll be the bad guy because they'll believe her and not me. I have almost $1,800 saved up and don't want to get a divorce because then she'll get half of it. But I don't know how I can even be in the same room as her anymore. Anyway, I just wanted to get it off my chest. True off my chest, number 8. I'm scared. I was the chef at my job. My wife is pregnant with our first child. I told them I would like a peaceful transition of power and to step down. Once someone else was trained and in the position, we could see where I landed. I did not want the burden of covering every shift, the 17-hour days, the 6-7-day work weeks, the constant calls at home, etc. Once the baby is here. Not for my wife, not for the baby, not for me. I was fired instead. The next day, I was receiving phone calls from ownership because they didn't know how to do it. My response was a simple, "You fired me." I was owed a bonus program. One was a fixed bonus. Now I significantly underperformed and worked a lot of 4-day work weeks and was hardly ever there. The other was a profit share. The company lost substantial money. 16 months of being the chef and nearly 36 months of working there, and I was never talked to about this underperformance. There were no meetings about our substantial loss, though my data says the opposite anyway. Now I'm owed, and there were apparently major issues with my performance. 456 days. Nothing was ever said. No meetings. No review. Nothing. 456 days, $2.6 million in sales. Now I have a baby on the way. We are stressed about finances and I just have to keep going. True off my chest, number 9. I am so sick of my friends being miserable all the time. I don't say this to victim blame. Their circumstances and conditions are very valid and I hope they can get the help. But oh my gosh, it seems like more than half of my friends are constantly breaking down, having panic attacks, suicidal, etc. in our interactions. Like from the moment I wake up, I have someone in my life texting me, being like I am not okay. I am losing it, or BS, like I don't know how long I can last anymore. And I'm starting to wonder, is it affecting my mental health? I work a very taxing job, suicide hotline. So I'm already pretty burnt out emotionally, and they don't help, and I'm left too tired to go out and have fun. Date. Do young people things. I'm 24. Like it's been my whole 20s, and that's what my mental health struggles come in. Sort of feeling like I missing my youth due to working a lot and dealing with my friends' emotions. It's been years of almost daily support, and I feel like I've wasted so much emotional energy on them. I love them so, as one has been my bestie since middle school, and the other one is so talented, and I love working with him as an artist. And there have been a few instances where they've been there for me as well, and when they are in a good place. They're amazing. But it seems like they're constantly in crisis and it's starting to suck. I'd love to go out with my friends and not have to de-escalate or hype someone up from a panic attack. Especially when no one helps me aside from my therapist and meds, which they both have. True off my chest, number 10. Burned in love again. I've had a tough time with relationships. I've been burned, cheated on and led on by every single man I have encountered. One man courted me for 3 years and then suddenly left me, married another woman within 4 months of us ending. My most recent ex and I were talking about marriage until I found out he was having sex with my best friend. My first boyfriend broke up with me the day of our engagement party and married the girl he was cheating on me with. The most recent incident has left me spiraling. How did this happen to me again? How did I let it happen to me? He was heavily flirting with me for months, and I was the one keeping a fortress up around my already wounded heart. Until I finally relented to his advances and agreed to date him. Our connection was beautiful, perhaps the best chemistry I've ever enjoyed with a man. Talking to him was like talking to a male version me. Time flew whenever we're together. He kept saying how perfect we were together. We were always looking forward to seeing each other again. He was always a complete green flag, so perfect that I could find no flaws in him. We dated for 10 months, and it felt like we knew each other forever. It felt like an ideal relationship, so real that I forgot all my wounds and scars. He made me feel like it was all real. Our last communication, him at 2 a.m. What are you up to? Me 7:30. I was sleeping, slept really well. Just woke up. What's your plan for today? And no response. He didn't answer any of my calls. No reply to any of my following messages. He was active and online, posting on social media, etc., but just left me without a word, as if I didn't exist. That's where it ended. He was just gone without a trace, vanished, as if everything that happened between us just never happened. It has been 3 months since then, no contact, and I'm still hurting. He knew that I can't take any more heartache, and yet he chose to do this to me. What did I do to deserve this? My heart hurts physically. Why did he just vanish without a word? Do I not deserve the dignity and respect of a breakup conversation after 10 months together? Are there no honest and sincere men left in this world? Is every man I meet going to keep their options open and cheat on me or leave the second he finds an alternative? Why did he spend so much time and effort on convincing me to date him, only to leave me in such a cruel and heartless manner? Did our time together not mean anything to him? I don't want closure, I just want him back. I want to feel loved again, with honesty and sincerity. No cheating, no vanishing. I can't deal with heartbreak anymore. True off my chest, number 11. Drugs are starting to ruin my life. Honestly, I don't know if this belongs on here or not, but I just need to get it off my chest. I don't even know where to start, or where this downward spiral started, but I think it has gotten too much out of hand over the holidays. I went out with a few friends, and it resulted in being me extremely drunk after 31 shots in about 6 hours. Also, I am a non-smoker, and I have never bought a pack of cigs ever. But when we were out partying, I wouldn't say no if my friends offered me one. This has gone quite a bit out of hand recently. So today we went out again, and I feel like it has slowly gotten to the point where I am addicted to this garbage, because I have been quite mad the last few days, haven't consumed any cigs nor alcohol. And I swear I haven't been this baseline mad in forever, and I think I have just calmed down a bit after a cig today. I am not letting this shitty habits take over my life, so I am calling it quits right now and will quit any substances. True off my chest. Number 12. I'm sick of being the free babysitter at every family function. I, 15 female, have twin younger cousins, both male age 5. And at every family function, I am the free babysitter. This hasn't bothered me before, but these past few months, since they've turned 5 in September, I can handle it. Since the beginning, at every family function, I am the babysitter. I want to spend time with my other relatives to talk, but I'm always with them. When I try to have a 5-minute break, they have a tantrum and hits things and people. All their parents say to them is to not hit people, and they leave the room for me to deal with them and calm them down. They both constantly interrupt people, break things, always demands to get what they want, and hit people and break things. This past weekend, I stood up for myself. We were over at my aunt's house, and like usual, I was the babysitter. The next morning, I told my aunt and uncle that I didn't want to be a free babysitter for them anymore. Both of them got really angry at me and told me that they just want a break, so I have to look after them. I obligated and looked after them the rest of the day. I want to make this clear. I love my twin cousins and am not putting the blame on them. They are 5 years old. I'm just tired that I don't spend time with any other relatives and why my brother can't look after them for a little bit when I need a break. I'm also sad that my aunt and uncle have to deal with them every day, so I feel bad that I said I didn't want to be a free babysitter. Sorry for the rant. Update. Hey guys, I just wanted to say thank you for all of your advice. I really appreciate it. Next, I'm just found out that I'm going to see my relatives for dinner, so wish me luck. I'll take your guys' advice. True off my chest, number 13. My mum's partner asked for money after I told him I will call the police if she showed at my door. TBH, I just need to vent. I'm 25 years old female, and my mom, age 53, passed away a few months ago. It was unexpected. Prior to her death, she broke a few bones while working. As a result, she needed assistance. Her partner, male age 55, was the one supposed to help her. But even before her accident, he would get angry with her all the time without reason. Like, if everything was fine, he was okay, but if he didn't like something, he would ruin her day. After her accident, he treated her like a burden. No matter how gentle and nice she was with him, he would get mad with her for needing his help. I was making arrangements to be able to take care of her while not risking our financial situation. She was the main breadwinner and his partner was sort of a SAHD, but he kinda just cooked and do some maintenance, sometimes drove her off when needed. But one day I returned home and she was gone. I just saw her last minutes, but she wasn't even able to talk. The last conversation I had with her was about how he said something rude to her. I think I was in denial. I didn't want it to accept that I was alone. I don't talk to my bio dad. Her partner started seeing worried, and I thought he was feeling guilty. I didn't want to be a bad person and kick him out while he was grieving. I also thought he was the one who understand my pain the most, because he was her partner for more than 10 years. He never wanted to be my dad, and I felt the same way too, but he was there since I was a kid. I thought of him as family. So I thought that we could support each other while I inherit everything, and he thought a way to get back on his feet. He started to feel entitled to everything. I don't know how to describe it, but to put it in a way, if my eyebrows were raised, he would back off. But even though, he would still get mad if I tried to cut unnecessary expenses or if I didn't get the expensive food he liked. The final nail in the coffin was when I discovered that he was cheating my mom and that he didn't stop seeing his affair partner after her death, reuniting with her less than a month after her passing. He denied it, but I got evidence. He still tried to gaslight me and said he knew it was wrong, but that it happened because, giving my mom medical issues, she couldn't be with him. That it was not my weight to carry and to please find in my heart forgiveness. I asked him to leave, and he did cause he still needed me as a witness in a trial I was paying so he could get an allowance. We are not from USA. TBH, at that point I still felt guilty, because even though he wasn't a good person, I felt like I was throwing someone into the streets. He has a home. But then, after telling to my friends, I realized how much I was being used. And my mom too. He was still believing I was going to pay and testify in the trial, so he sent me a message with what I needed to tell. But to be honest, I just wanted to move forward, so I told him the truth, that I don't think it's fair that he benefits from her when he betrayed her. That I don't care if he says he cares from me, because I saw what he did to her, the woman she claimed he loved. That I didn't want to see him anymore, and that if he showed at my door, I will call the police. And his answer was flabbergasting. Understood, but please pay $2 for the lawyer fees. I blocked him, but I just feel disgusted and sick. How would someone think it's reasonable to ask for money when you are cutting contact with them? It's just so icky. I feel disgusted that I trusted him for so long, and he was always like this. True off my chest, number 14. I hate university since ChatGPT. Since ChatGPT came out, I've been on a turbocharged learning journey, diving deep into realizing my passion projects. These projects are incredibly complex and feel deeply valuable, not just for me, but for society, if I can bring them to life, which I'm on track to do. They've pushed me to learn at a pace I didn't think was possible before. But in contrast, university now feels like this rigid, sluggish structure that doesn't adapt to me at all. It just feels so foreign, added pressure from a system that tries to force you to conform into a non-descriptive, basic, dry box with no life. The way it's set up feels untimely and completely disconnected from where I'm headed. I'm torn between staying in this traditional system, which doesn't align with my goals, or stepping away to fully commit to the projects that make me feel alive, perhaps building a very strong portfolio, but risking standing there in 2 years with no paper to show for it. ChatGPT has completely transformed my confidence, creativity, and productivity. I've gone from a no-coder with worthless dreams and inspirations I carried around for years to finally dumping them into structured, highly technical implementations, completely changing and transforming my expertise. It is so fun, difficult, and has completely changed me, and I wish this momentum would never stop. I waited out 2 semesters to see where I would be in 12 months, and now that I'm in full preparation for exams, I hate it. I feel like this is the only time I can try out these possibly stupid, possibly genius ideas, growing into my true purpose in life before getting sucked into the corporate machine. But I am forced to waste my last years where I still have that freedom to learn and grow on a paternalistic curriculum. Has anyone else felt this way? How do you reconcile pursuing your passions while balancing the expectations tied to staying in a system like this? True off my chest. Number 15. I know that my best friend's ex is engaged and I'm not telling her. My best friend, 28F, and I, 27F, have been friends for over 15 years. We have done everything from renting a house together, vacations, each other's family holidays, etc. She was with a guy for a few years, and they lived together in his house. In April, she found flirty, suspicious text messages on his Apple Watch with one of his female co-workers. She confronted him about it, and he blew up on her that he can't be with someone who goes through his messages. Fast forward, a few weeks later, he basically kicks her out, saying that he just can't get over how she invaded his privacy by looking at his messages. Although this was the first and only time she had done this, Their entire relationship, even though she did it because he had started to act weird. She comes to stay with my fiancé and I. He keeps going back and forth with her. I want you. I don't want you. I don't know what I want. He strings her along from April, August, continuing to ask her over to hook up, only reaching out when it is convenient for him, then ghosting her until next time. In August, she found out from his sister that he had been seeing someone else since May, while still hooking up and stringing her along. She then cuts ties with him completely. She has deleted her social media, so she does not know what he posts or has going on. I saw his page where 2 weeks ago he is now engaged to this girl he started seeing in May, less than a year after his last contact with her. This would obviously devastate her since she is still not completely over him and that he always told her he didn't want to get married. I spent the weekend with her in Atlanta this past weekend, and she would talk about him, and my heart would just sink knowing that he has proposed to someone else. I feel terrible, but I know that I can't tell her. True off my chest. Number 16. I want to feel loved. I feel undesirable to the people that I want, and they're unreachable and attractive and everything I wish that I was. It's so conflicting having these thoughts as a gay guy. I feel like I want to be him, but also be with him. I feel envious that he has the body, the look, and most importantly, the personality I wish I had. I feel so inferior next to these types of people. But at the same time, I know it doesn't matter in the grand scheme of things, but I can't stop thinking about it. I've been on and off with these thoughts for literal years. It just gets worse, and I just hate how I am more. I want to date a guy like that, but I have so many issues that I don't want to come into their life and ruin them. I'm 21, but 22 is coming fast, and soon enough 30, and I've barely experienced anything worthwhile or satisfying. My circumstances make it difficult for me to act on these thoughts and attractions, so I tend to succumb to stuff that I should enjoy, but it often feels like a chore. I can't stop myself from emphasizing wanting to feel loved, even if I try to convince myself that I'm over it. If you have read it this far, I appreciate you, as it was so hard to write out whatever was in my mind or what I felt. I just want to let my thoughts out. True off my chest. Number 17. I'm mad at my grandma for taking a secret to her grave. For a bit of context, my grandmother Nana died in December of 2023, and she took with her a secret. I love my Nana with all my heart. She was my mum for a lot of my life, and was the person I would always talk to if something was wrong in my life. We talked about a lot of things and a little bit about our family history, but only the good parts of it. She had a tendency to not talk about things that she didn't want to, and it meant burying vital family history. She had originally only told me that she had a one-night stand with a guy on New Year's Eve in 1963, and then my mum was born. There was a bit more to them than she let on. They lived together for about a year after my mum was born, and I never had a name for him. This made it incredibly difficult when I started doing genealogy during the pandemic, and after much discussion, I was able to get his name from my Nana. I was under the impression that my mum was the only child that she ever had, but a few months ago, my mum told me about a conversation they had many years before her dementia set in, and she said that she had a baby in 1957 named John Koshu. Now this wasn't too crazy at the time. I did some research, but really couldn't find out much due to no idea if he was real. My mom has a tendency to lie and exaggerate. A few days ago, my mum said she found his birth certificate and checks to different people. I'm a bit confused and mad about the fact that she didn't tell me about this, and a bit at my mom for not pushing this. I don't know, I just want to have this connection with this guy. I'm praying that this will happen one day. True off my chest. Number 18. Have you ever regretted apologizing to someone? I reached out to apologize to an old friend after months of not talking. I wasn't trying to fix the friendship, I just wanted to own up to my part and clear the air, even though I was hurt. She responded politely, said she had no issues with me, and was understanding. But then she posted a month later, I'm tired of receiving apologies from people, feel sorry for yourself. When I tell you it's been ages since I've felt this shaken. True off my chest. Number 19. Tired of my pathetic life. I am 17 from India, currently doing a diploma in computer science. I work as a web developer for this startup that pays me $3 a day, which, as you can tell, is terrible. I am doing this for the experience, even thought I don't want to. My dad's like $35k USD in debt, and I know he won't be able to pay it. I want enough money to support my family, pay my dad's debt, and live happily. I feel insanely jealous and sad, seeing kids my age have iPhones, cars, branded stuff, etc., knowing I can't afford all those. My parents are yet to pay my last semester's college fees. Even after my diploma, I will be doing some shitty job that won't pay enough to make me feel satisfied. As a web developer, you need good equipment to be productive. All I have is a laptop from 2010 that takes ages just to boot up. All my friends are from, well, doing families, and seeing them happy and buy stuff makes me want to cry. I want to do something big, not work for a corporate. I want to start my own business and stuff, get into other fields, make enough money to keep my family happy, but it's better said than done. I am just tired of all this and needed a place to get it off my mental. Thanks.